G'day peeps and welcome back to another Speed Paint. Now, this episode is gonna be a little unique. I know that I say almost every single episode is special. That's because it is, of course, and every episode has a special topic or something, but in this episode, we're gonna be talking about a topic that's quite personal to me. Or, well, yeah, I guess it has to be, because this topic is gonna be about my ambitions for the year 2019, what my plans are for this year, and what's gonna happen throughout the year, and what my goals are, and so forth. But first I wanna start off by thanking everyone, and especially a couple of few people out there. But I wanna start off by thanking everyone for the 110 subscribers. I was actually planning to make a 100 subscriber special, but I didn't really make one before we already reached like 110 subscribers, so that was quite that was quite unique. But except that, then I also want to thank people for the first year on YouTube that I haven't felt that lonely. And that might sound very weird, because, well, for a lot of people then this might be the first channel that I've ever made. But the fact is that this channel is not the first one that I've made. I think it may, as a matter of fact, be the fourth one that I've ever made. And now you may be thinking, oh, what happened to all the other channels? What went wrong with those? And I shut them down for a bunch of different reasons, but they were also kind of like very helpful for me learning how to commentate and how to do YouTube and how to approach YouTube with a certain mindset and so forth. So I consider them important, like progression, but I'm not gonna share them because they're too embarrassing to look back on, and I'm definitely not gonna let that into the public eye in any sort of way. Actually, I'm kidding. I might do that someday, but not today. But basically, if I had to summarize the reasons that I shut a lot of those channels down, or well, I shut all of them down, I think there's only one that you can actually find on the internet that hasn't like gotten all its videos privated or something. But the reason that I did that was because I've always liked YouTube. I've always liked the idea of YouTube, and I think I learned about the idea that one could become a YouTuber and do YouTube as a living, like at the age of 11 or 12. That is how long ago that is, which is crazy. But there's also been another thing that's haunting me for almost an equal amount of time, and that is poor health. Ever since, I think almost the same time, age 10, 11, 12, I'm not quite sure, but around that time, I got very sick. I got a sickness like a kidney disease. Can't remember quite what it's called, but it made me hospitalized. Or it didn't, like, I wasn't hospitalized, but it made me so I had to go visit the hospital like once every month or so. And then immediately after that like year-long process, then I was actually sent to a therapist. I was sent to a therapist just because, you know, that's a routine to check that the child is like okay with it. There's no like long-term mental damage or something. But at the same time, I realized that I was starting to feel kind of anxious, and I felt kind of bad in a way. I got way more scary, and I was way more tense than I used to be. And then I got sent to like a personal therapist, or like a child therapist at the time. And I just kept going to that like a therapist for a little bit, and then soon after we realized that I was starting to develop panic disorder. Panic disorder, for those who don't know, is a type of anxiety, or it's a type of anxiety disorder basically, but it's kind of like you get panic attacks, you get anxiety attacks, but the problem is that it's kind of hard to predict in which situation or when it'll happen, and it sort of creates this evil loop where you get anxious or scared at the thought of having a panic attack, which in turn creates a panic attack. It sucks. Now, mine was luckily mostly locked down into claustrophobia, so I could just avoid any claustrophobic situation and I'd be fine. But it eventually spread, and I would get scared of multiple things, like my parents even leaving home is something I could get a panic attack about. If they didn't pick up the phone, I get a panic attack about that as well. And that was a very miserable part of my life because I couldn't even go to the capital city where the therapist was, or I had a hard time doing it because I was so claustrophobic that I viewed like big cities as labyrinths, and I just couldn't go in there. But my mom forced me to, which was good because that therapy helped me in the end. But then after these years, I don't remember exactly how many. Well, I think it was just like 1.5 year, but I'm not quite sure because it all sort of mishmashes together throughout that period. But after that, around 8th or ninth grade, I sadly went into a clinical severe depression, which is apparently common for people who have anxiety or anxiety disorders to be for that like disorder to be accompanied by a depression period, which sucks. But that period of my life lasted like I think a year where I couldn't really do anything. I couldn't get out of bed. I didn't want to get out of bed. My attendance at school was like, I don't know, I was maybe there 60 to 70% of the time, maybe 80. I can't remember. The only thing that I do remember was that I did YouTube throughout the entire time. Like, even during my depression period, I tried uploading, what was it, every like second, every third day, maybe? I'm not sure, but like throughout almost all my youth, I remember like being followed by sickness, poor health, and then trying to like do YouTube or scramble together some sort of YouTube channel of some kind, for all those years. But once again, that built pressure because then I had to not only attend school, but I also had to use my willpower to like actually be happy and falsely positive. Yes, I was also a commentator YouTuber back then, but I had to put energy into being like fake positive, because I was really depressed at the time. But I still had to do these YouTube videos, and it was probably the worst time I've ever had with YouTube or anything of the like. It was horrible. But what motivated me to like keep going or just like tough through it was the fact that school for us was ending. Now this might sound kind of like a weird thing for Americans, or like any other place pretty much, because we have a kind of a different school system. But we were basically getting out of school. Our school was ending. But then you could move on to another school where you could kind of like have more focused subjects, which I thought was great because then I could like actually have subjects that I was interested in. But apparently I was let down only to find out that it wasn't as specialized or like focused as I thought. It was kind of like still broad subjects. You still had to take math. I hated math at the time. You still had to take physics. I started to hate physics even more. I was actually good at math. I was very good at it, but I was just not interested in it. And then in this new school, I actually got out of the depression. This was like a year later, and a depression can only last like 8 months or so, so I got out of it. But I almost fell back into it on the second year of that new school because I didn't attend much of class, and then I started missing out, and that created like a loop of me not knowing what I was supposed to do in classes. And then I started to hate stuff like math. And there was also like a limit to how much attendance I could get at that school before getting kicked out. So I was juggling with both YouTube and school. I actually had a day off every week where I could upload a YouTube video, which was horrible. Oh, no, that wasn't even one video. There was one video that was actually like put aside, and the school said, okay, you can have that day off to recharge and like get your energy back because you just had a depression, so it's fine. But I didn't relax that day. I recorded like freaking 4 videos, or like 2 to 4 videos that day, or maybe even more. It was so stupid. But I still toughed through it. I still got through it, and here I am. This is the last year of that school. And basically what that means is when I eventually graduate, I'll get out of school and I'll have a couple of years off, where I'll actually be able to just be an adult. I'll be able to sit down and work. And for the first time, since my beginning of interest in YouTube, I will be able to dedicate not just not half my time, not a quarter of my time, but all of my time into trying to get this to work, which I'm so excited about. And it's also why I want to thank people for kind of making this a happier year for me. This last year where I've kind of still had to juggle my school and my YouTube. So I want to thank the couple of commenters who keep like repeatedly commenting on my videos and keep talking and actually keep making it feel like there's somewhat of a community of some sort. What really made those like old times really miserable on my old channels was the fact that no one was watching either. I was just uploading and I couldn't even get critique from anyone. There was no one watching. So that's why I really want to say thank you. Thank you to you commenters who are so happy knowing that there are people who repeatedly do come back to the channel for more content. That really is something I'm thankful for. And I do appreciate every single one of you. I've been through a bunch of shit. I don't know, there's probably a ton of you out there who've also been through a bunch of shit. I'm not saying this to sound preaches or anything, I'm just saying this so you can kind of relate to the situation. But for the first time in my youth/adult life, I'm actually about to get back control. And I'm about to actually be able to sit down in an apartment and work on something that I really want to work on. And it's awesome. And that's also why I want to say, or I want to set the goal pretty high for this year. And the goal is basically, and stay with me, I know it's stupid, but I'm gonna go for 1,000 subscribers. That is my goal. I know it's stupid, but I can basically be able to upload I'm trying to upload every single day. And not only that, but I'm working on some really creative videos, and I'll be working way more on these creative videos when I actually get the time, and when I graduate, and when I get out of school, and when I get the time to work on this. So I really expect that both me and my content will heavily improve with this newly added amount of time, which in turn will hopefully interest a bunch of people out there. And I don't know, maybe we can be lucky and catch a few of those pesky subscribers. Am I right, guys? But anyways, that was about it. It wasn't as much actually stating my ambitions as it was just like a life rant in general, and you guys learning a little bit about me and so forth. But I did get to tell you that I'm going for 1,000 subscribers. I mean, that is some sort of video-worthy announcement, am I right? But anyways, that was basically just the goal of this video, especially as a small YouTuber, then I think it's really important to address how important you guys actually are to me. I really appreciate you few commenters out there who actually make this channel not seem like a completely dead husk, and actually bring it some sort of substance when it comes to a community. And I'm really thankful for that. But anyways, thank you all really, truly so much for watching. And I'll catch you on the next one, or the next many videos, because I am enthused and motivated to do many. Peace.